only 25% of women actually actively initiate sex on a regular basis. And I assume these are probably married women, but we'll throw in the long-term relationship women as well. And does that got track with what you guys have kind of seen or heard in life? I mean, I looked at multiple studies and they all kind of saying the same thing. And why do you guys think that is? And is that a result of women being bored or not wanting to tell the guy, listen, I'm not really feeling it. I've got some other issues going on. I mean, is a conversation even being had? I would like to think so because if she started off you dating, jumping off the dresser and flying around the room, and now she's only doing that 25% of the time, and on her own accord, would you feel like, man, I'm really kind of unloved. I'm down bad over here because the only time she wants to toot it up is if I ask. Is that something guys should really kind of feel some kind of way about in the dress, or just let it ride?
I mean, as long as she's riding, right?
That's a fact.
But when she's not riding, and she's
okay.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So
I dated
hard to
myself by
initiate
saying
sex and have
toot
it
it up.
riding.
That's what the old people say.
Tooted and booted.
I think it's definitely a problem. I don't think it's a new problem. I think it's a systemic problem. I think, ironically, women want to be a man's everything. They say because they don't want him to find anything else from any other woman. I mean, I'm talking about the monogamous women, not the poly women. Y'all good over there. Y'all chill. So monogamous women want their man to get everything from them, and they want to be the man's everything, right? Well, come on, ladies. He doesn't want to get up all the time and initiate stuff. You know what's funny? I've been thinking that maybe the problem is that men want to be wanted. We don't really care to be needed, right? And women want to be needed. And they will use the fact that we really want this sex to make it the part where they're needed. And so that needed thing keeps them from initiating. Because I've heard women say they have the same level of sexual energy as men, right? So if they're not initiating at least 50% of the time, it means they're being fake. I call cap. I blow the whistle. I throw the flag. Come on, y'all, stop being fake. So no, I think it's I don't doubt the stats. I think, matter of fact, I think if you factor in the accountability factor, then then these stats are probably inflated, and it's probably more like 15%. Yeah, and it's sad. People should be ashamed of themselves. Like to step it up.
As they was talking at the top of the show, I said that somebody's gonna have to take a shot of estrogen, and I think that person might be me. Here we go, do-si-do. In the sense that somebody's got to speak up for the ladies. First, let me say, though, however, that I do think that the number is probably accurate. Women themselves will say these things. So I do think that that's definitely, a lot of women don't. Matter of fact, one of our co-hosts who was supposed to be on tonight would have said, yeah, that's me, proudly. But I don't think it's for the reason that Jay said. Well, maybe not solely, right? Because I do think, number one, in relationships, men are the hunters, right? We're the ones who are supposed to go out there and kill the prey, right? We kill. Even our words for sex describes our ability to go out there and get it, right? So I do got to account for a certain percentage of that being because patriarchy or, just the nature of the game, right? So that's number one. Now, if you're talking about a relationship over a period of time, I get it. But again, people kind of fall into their roles, right? If you're the protector, the provider, the hunter, then maybe, hey, you're the one that kind of, is always initiating. Now, I do think men have to communicate like, hey, sometimes it'd be great if you yada, 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 right? So I do get that it is a problem that men should talk about and communicate. But here's the thing that I also feel like women are going to probably appreciate me for saying. It depends on what you define as initiate. Meaning that, for example, if your initiation starts when you get home after 10 o'clock, had a couple of beers, maybe a couple of joints, and now you're rubbing the leg, that's your initiation? Cool. So you technically did initiate. But then some women will say a text message throughout the day might have been the initiated that maybe she needed in order to turn up by the time you got home. So I guess it just depends on what you mean by initiate, right? So I'm saying that, yes, I do agree if the stat, because I think most of the time people are talking about, hey, just when we're about to get it popping. But then I hear women say, hey, you know what? You got to, mentally stimulate me. You got to do yada, yada, yada. And I believe them when they say that, right? I do believe that sometimes, unlike men, where for the most part, when it's time to rock and roll, there's been times I've had an argument and I should be upset, but I was focused. The logic told me, nigga, fuck your upset and go ahead and enjoy your night. You can be upset, sleep, you know what I'm saying? Because you know what that shit does to a nigga, especially late at night. But my point is, that may or may not be a woman's ability, right? She may be caught up in her emotions and feel some type of way. Like, for example, one of the things I would do, cleaning. I did not know that cleaning around the house was such a fucking, like, the fact that, boom, she come to the crib, shit's, sometimes when I want to get some, I just clean up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's, that's me. It technically is me initiating sex, right? Because I'm cleaning, because I know that might be what helps initiate her. But technically, that's not me initiating sex, but to get out. You know what I'm saying? For us, most of the time, initiation has to do with our dick being out. You know what I'm saying? Well, all I'm
I
saying,
whipped it out. I just initiated. I whipped it out.
yeah, but all I'm saying is it's all about perspective. I do get that from a man's perspective. A lot of times we are the initiators. We do want to be wanted. I do think we need to communicate that. I also think that we can create the environment, right? Because if we understand our woman and if she maybe communicates to us, or we kind of know the things that will get her in the mood, whether it's cooking, cleaning, or, you know what I'm saying, whatever, then I think that, it just depends on how you define initiate. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, the numbers may be on the surface, but I think as men, we have to expound our thinking and really redefine initiate, because it's not just simply about rubbing on her leg just because you want to get some, is all I'm saying.